solid green turfgrass lawn really the green thing to do? Well, perfectly manicured yards like this became a staple in the 1950s. They may actually be doing more harm than good. I'm Aubree Latimer, and with a background in range and pasture for the FFA and trying to revive my own arid acreage, I've done a ton of research on native plants as opposed to your traditional turfgrass. Today I'm going to discuss the downfalls of turfgrass lawns like these and provide a much more environmentally friendly example, such as native grasses and other plant life. With the American dream white picket fence ideal of the 1950s came the immaculately groomed golf course type lawn. With the amount of resources that are poured into these lawns, they're not really that green in practice. To achieve lush green lawns, most people use a tremendous amount of fertilizers to supplement the nutrients that the grasses don't absorb naturally. Now, toxins from these fertilizers and herbicides eventually make their way into our food and water supplies. Also, a study from the University of California in their geophysical research letters found that ornamental grasses and athletic fields release large amounts of harmful nitrous oxide, which may not be offset by the CO2 that the plants reabsorb depending on the type of grass that's in place. Now, keeping yards cut short to look nice also severely cuts down the biodiversity that's able to use the yard as a feeding or living environment. Grass lawns are usually not allowed to head out or produce seeds and pollen, which does not attract or feed pollinating insects such as honeybees, which are widely known to be extremely beneficial in the health and reproduction of many different types of plants. Without the pollination of different types of plants, such as flowers, fruit trees, or even crops for human consumption, there could be a severe decrease in the amount of animals that use these plants as their food sources. Down the road, this could impact humans as we urbanize and more rural land becomes these yards. Now, since turfgrass is non-native, they can also consume a ton of water. Ornamental grass is not usually a problem in the eastern portion of the United States, where they receive plenty of rainfall and humidity, but they can pose a huge problem when moving west across the country. Many cities in more arid climates have instituted watering restrictions that only allow you to water your yard during a certain time of night to prevent evaporation and water waste. A study by Christina Melcy and her team at the NASA Ames Research Center in California found that even with efficient watering, yards can use up to 200 gallons of water per person per day to maintain their appearance. This is a huge problem in states such as California and Nevada that are facing extreme droughts and water shortages. Even with efficient watering, it still doesn't change the fact that they do require a tremendous amount of unnecessary water consumption. Now that you know the environmental impacts of turfgrass yards, you should know that there's a much more environmentally friendly option. Native wild grasses and plants are a much more efficient and low maintenance option. The root system on native plants is extremely complex and much more efficient at absorbing nutrients. The roots of some of these plants can reach up to 15 feet deep in the soil, as opposed to the traditional or normal 6 inches of turf grass. This increases the surface area and allows the plants to absorb more nutrients with little to no input. Now, these huge roots are also much more efficient at absorbing water, even in drought-stricken areas. Since we live in West Texas, when you drive down the road outside of town, the plants you see growing are native plants that utilize these vast root systems to thrive even without any input. Now, I'm not saying you have to plant mesquite trees in your front yard, but it's just an example of how little maintenance that they really require. These plants with their amazing root system also are extremely beneficial in erosion-prone areas. Their large root systems hold together the soil better in windier and drier environments such as West Texas, Wyoming, or even Southern California. Allowing different types of native grasses to grow to maturity allows for the promotion and benefit of the natural food chain. The flowers and pollen of plants attracts pollinating insects such as butterflies and honeybees, which will benefit the flowers in your flower bed, gardens in the area, or even the crops that grow your food. West Texas also happens to be on the monarch butterfly migration route, so if you plant more So if you plant more native flowers, you'll have a beautiful display of butterflies every fall. Now I know what you're thinking, I don't want a bunch of weeds planted in my front yard, but I'm here to tell you that naturally landscaped yards can actually be very beautiful. Many landscapers in charge of landscaping businesses or new construction homes are opting for these lower maintenance alternatives. Now some grasses can also offer brilliant color changes in different seasons, such as little blue stem, which can flush bright orange or pink during the fall, and switchgrass, which can take on shades of maroon. There are also so many different types of flowers and bushes that the only maintenance they require is the occasional trimming to maintain their desired shape. Now, native plants also give you more interesting aesthetics while still requiring little to no maintenance, so you really get the best of both worlds. Now, if most people started opting for the benefits of naturally landscaped yards, the environment would definitely thank you. In conclusion, solid green turf grass may not be the answer when trying to go green, but native plants are the much more environmentally friendly option. If you're interested in making the switch, I suggest that you do just a little research to find out the native plants in your area, and you'll be surprised at how many options there are and how little maintenance they require. The outdated, potentially harmful turf grass lawn will soon be a thing of the past, and I strongly encourage you to steer clear of going solid green and consider native plants for your next landscaping project.